This is the oldest building in Death Valley constructed by Borax Smith. It was moved here in 1954 to serve as a museum, but we've never been in it, as a matter of fact. However, the outside is an outdoor museum that is kept up to date. There's a guide for each element outside, but you can't get the guide. This we're coming up here next is the Tidewater Railroad Strongbox, I guess. I don't know how it got here, but here it is. It served the rail up to rhyolite, so it's very important for the industry, the mining industry. Also went through Shoshone. This is the back, and to the left, 51 cents each to get a coin pressed. And to the left and rear is the outdoor museum, which we will see next. Old Dinah. Its intent is to replace every mule in Death Valley by pulling huge loads like that shown in these buckets. For example, the size of these nuts and bolts and how many there are. And here's a little sign about Old Dinah. Now it says abandoned on the Beatty to Keene Wonder Mine Road, which is east of here. It wasn't abandoned. The thing stopped working. It had many failures. And so consequently, it just ended up here. It used to be in front of the museum. In front of the hotel there, but now they moved it. Now here's another example of a 20 mule team. And it's really not 20 mule team. It's really 18 mules. The first two here were horses because this seems a little light because of the weight of this yoke is too heavy for little mules, but just right for horses. So it's 2 horses and 18 mules. Let's stay out of the sunlight here a little bit. So this is the wagons for the ore. That one's for the water. And as the sign says, they took it, does it say where it says? Mojave. Right. Now, the problem was the road is not straight. It was a dirty. So what you had to do when they came to a corner is the mules would have to hop over the cable, because it was a chain from this yoke on. So they had to hop over the chain, and then when they straightened out, they had to hop back in the other direction. And it took a smart mule to do that. The general attitude about mules by those people in those era is that the dumbest mule was smarter than the smartest horse, which says a lot for the 20 mule team. Okay, there's Dinah from this direction. Let's go look at some wagons here. This is obviously a grader. This is one long wagon to haul lumber. Feed wagon to haul horses and mule food here, as you can see. Right. Now notice a steel rim here, and then you have the wood supports around it. So, and here's the hub. This comes off. You put in any type of grease in there. So the problem is, how do you fit securely this steel rim on the wood? And it has to be secure. Well, the way you do it is you heat up the steel, which expands, slip it over the wood and let it contract on the wood, and voila, you've got this. Now this is an interesting machine, I guess, a wagon. This is, I guess it's a turning front end. But look at these wheels, they're made out of cement. Okay. That yoke must weigh 300 pounds by itself. It's amazing. Okay, what does it say here? I don't know what it says. Doesn't answer it on the computer. But to put cement in the wheels adds tremendous amount of weight. And so they can't be hauling more weight. But, okay, moving on. Another wagon. This guy here, horse comes along, scoops up the dirt to make it level, then continues. Another massive wagon. These wheels are over 6 feet high, or over 2 meters high. All water. Obviously a water pump. And there's supposed to be spokes in that place. Obviously a well. Alrighty, this guy here, Arrastra. I think it's A-S-S-A-T-R-A. Actually introduced to the United States by the Mexicans. Now this one is a little bit different. It's got a wheel at the end that can be powered by a massive belt that's connected to an engine. The one in Hanksville, Utah, which is totally restored, I should say totally restored, I mean 100% restored, beautiful, was powered by a creek water wheel. Let's look at this guy here. Rock. At each end is a rock of some kind. And that engine turns that gears, so this rotates. And as it rotates over quartz that contains gold and crushes it, such that the gold is now freed from the quartz. Now this is a very crude one. Some have 2 stages. There's another one of these at Warm Springs that's in better condition. Now here's a more primitive method. You just put your quartz in here and you have 2 excessively heavy metal and you just rotate it back and forth, crushing that ore. Now the most of them use this system here. Now, let me back up. You bring your ore with gold, you put it in here, and let me back up. This is called a 1 stamp ore pulverizing from Johnny. That's Johnny, Nevada, 1905. Now Johnny is a mine and 1 pump. So the way this works is, you can see this slant. So as it comes up over here, it goes up and goes up. And then once it comes to here, it drops down for a total of, pick a number, 8 inches, 4 centimeters. And up there is the powered from a engine motor. So what really happens now, I'm going to let this settle down here a little bit. You can see the cylinder here. Okay, the ore comes in from the other side. This goes up and crushes that quartz a couple of times to release the gold. Now the one in Skidoo mining, which is west of here, I don't know if they're fully restored it or whatever, but it had 20 of these in series, all smashing ore. And you can imagine the noise being made. Anyway, this is a one stamp mill. Think of 20 of them in series, parallel with each other. Old powered engine, 4 cylinders. What else we got? Let's go look at this guy. The museum's closed, so they have a guide for each of these, and there's a number on each of these. And the museum has been closed, I think, for at least 2 years, if not more. So this is number 12. Wheel, camshaft. That closes this back and forth. The only thing I can think of is a press for a newspaper. I don't know what else it could be. There's big engines, and there's really big engines. Number 50. One, two, three, four, five, 6 pistons, camshafts, valves, and this is where the belt would go to run the other machines. Let's see, Atlas, something model engineering 60, made in USA. Look at the camshaft on that guy. Bossich Brothers, Los Angeles, San Francisco. Well, there's one thing to make it, and the other problem is hauling it here from either Los Angeles or San Francisco. They obviously must have somehow disassembled this entire engine. Borax Smith needed to replace his expensive 20-mule team to haul this borax ore to Daggett, California, which is near Mojave. Well, Dinah was the apparent answer that he purchased in 1894. This 110 horsepower monster consumed 3,000 pounds, that's 1,400 kilograms, of coal each day. Its speed was 3.5 miles per hour, which is 5.6 kilometers per hour, on a flat and durable road. 3 problems. 1, not reliable. 2, in sand, its wheels would simply spin. Up hills, the front end would lift upwards, making it impossible to steer. Well, sometimes in the early 1900s, Keen Wonder Mines purchased Dinah to haul its gold to Rhyolite, where a railroad was available. First trip was in July of 1909. Also, coal was becoming expensive, so the system was switched to using oil. 4th problem revealed. The high mineral content of Death Valley water caused the water and steam pipes to clog. This significantly raised the pressure of the boiler, and it exploded. Dinah was now dead and abandoned until 1932, when it was moved to Furnace Creek Ranch. This is about Edwin Wolverton building a water-powered gold extracting multi-stage arrastra in Henry Mountain near Hanksville, Utah. He was searching for the lost 300-year-old Spanish gold mine. He claimed discovery in 1915. As expected, there was an Indian curse, so shamefully treated. After laboring from dawn until dark, they were often beaten and kicked like dogs. One morning, the surrounding hills were full of warriors. A terrible battlefield, and many Indians were killed. But at the end, all the Spaniards were destroyed, their shelters burned,
and their workings carefully filled in. An Indian medicine man placed a great curse on the place from which the gold had been taken. To whomever reopens these workings would come a great calamity. His blood would turn to water, and even in youth he would be as an old man. His squaws and papooses would die, and the earth would bring forth for him only poison weed instead of corn. What you see above you is the rebuilt Arrastra with the belts and everything. And elaborate. There were two grinding mills, one here and another one you see later. This is a long story and too long for this segment. However, look at the YouTube title Highway 12, Wolverton, Wolverton Gold Mill. And it's also contained in the tour book from Amazon, Escalante to Moab, Utah. It is a fascinating story where he almost died, and he actually is buried in that same area, in that town area. Forget the town offhand. But by all means, the work the BLM did in restoring it is just phenomenal.